Hey, I'm Chris from Focusrite Novation, and today I'm over in Colchester with the guys from Get in the Mix, and I've got with me the new Novation Launch controller. The Launch Control is a perfect addition for those people who want to be able to control their music software. Also, people who want to do live performance with their laptop computers as well. In its basic form, we have 16 encoders on the top here, or rotary knobs. These are what we call 270 degrees, so they go from down here all the way up, and they're capped up at the top. They'll give you a really nice travel, nice feel to them. So we have 16 of those, and we also have 8 buttons as well. Next to the buttons, you see here we've got some navigation arrows too, and these navigation arrows let us move around the software that we're working in. So the Launch Control is the perfect partner also to the Novation Launchpad. You see here I've got my Launchpad S and Launch Control set up, and they match up perfectly. So if you're used to performing live with a Launchpad, you've got all your buttons, you're pressing, you're able to trigger the samples, you're able to control the effects and that sort of thing, the Launch Control just gives you deeper control over your devices, parameters, mixer and that sort of thing. Let's have a look at some of the sort of the in-depth side of the Launch Control to get a feel for what the Launch Control actually does. So here we have the Launch Control. As I said earlier, we have 16 rotary knobs on the top here for being able to control different parameters in our software and mixer settings, the 8 buttons here and the navigation buttons. Straight out of the box, the Launch Control is a perfect controller for the likes of Ableton, for example. We have 2 different types of settings here. We have the factory templates and we have the user templates as well. Now, if I'm in my factory template mode, if I hold the button down, I have access to 8 separate templates that we've pre-prepared. The first 3 of these templates are specific to Ableton. And if we have a look at template number 1, we'll see how this works. So now we're in template number 1, and if you look at the volume channel on the volume control on channel 1, you see now that my bottom fader there is controlling that. So I've done no setting up other than within my preferences, choosing the Launch Control and just setting the Launch Control as my input-output in my MIDI preferences there. Okay, and now as I say, I've got mixer control here. The top row of knobs here will now allow me to move my pan control left and right. So this is a great way of being able to control our mixer. If I press the down arrow here, we get a little yellow line at the bottom of Ableton to tell us what we're going to control. And this is now actually saying that I'm controlling my send effects. Now send effects are a great way of being able to take a signal from any channel in Ableton and then send it over to an effects processor. So if we have a look on my screen here, I have my ping pong, delay, reverb, a beat repeat and resonator effects all set up. These are my send effects. So if I trigger a sample, okay, so let's bring in send A. So that's adding the delay effect to it. Bring that off, and then we'll add some reverb. Okay. Now if I want to access the other controls that I have here, I've got C and D. If I press down again, my yellow bar at the bottom of Ableton comes up to tell me what I'm controlling, and now I'll send this through the beat repeat effect. Let's add some resonator to it as well. And then when I want to go back to the mixer, I can immediately go back by just pressing the up button, and now that controls the volume again. So I can cycle through quite happily with my send effects here. Let's turn them off. Press down again, and now control A and B, and then press up, control the volume. Really straightforward and easy. So this is template number 1. Now if I go to factory template number 2, hold down factory, press number 2, I'm now into template number 2. And what I have now is volume control and pan control. So I'm sending that out left and right. The buttons now actually trigger samples in my arrangement, in my session view. This is just like being able to use it like a single line of Launchpad. So to access the different samples, I can use the up and down arrows here, and you see I move up and down with a line. So let's trigger this one. Okay, let's trigger another sample as well. Okay, and again, as I say, I've got pan control and mixer control. Okay, so this is template number 2. Now let's move to template number 3. Hold down factory, press template number 3, and this is my personal favourite because this allows me now to control the different parameters of all the different devices that we have within the software. Now my up and down arrows, left and right, allow me to choose a different track. So I'm going to go over to my tops track. This is track number 3. I'm going to press down, and you'll see now that I access the lane or channel strip, if you like, for all my effects. Now, if I use the up and down arrows, I can move between the different effects that I have available. Now, the great thing is, there's no MIDI mapping required for this to work. Once I've set it up in my preferences, it will just work for me. So here we are on the auto filter. So I'll just bring the filter down. Let's bring the peak up a bit. So we can see now that I'm controlling the auto filter super easy, but it might well be that I want to control perhaps my ping pong delay. So I use the down arrow to move across to the ping pong delay, and now let's just bring the dry wet back up. Now go back to the filter. Another thing that Factory Template 1 will do within Ableton is actually give you the ability to use the buttons to turn tracks on and off. So if we just press them, the tracks are actually muted, they're stopped, they're not actually putting any audio through there. So we can use this as a quick way of just killing tracks or killing different sections of music. So those are the 3 templates that we have for Ableton, but we have other templates as well. For example, the launch control is perfectly at home if you plug it into your iPad too. And we have 2 specific templates, number 4 and 6, which will also allow you to control both Novation apps, the Launchpad app and the Launch Key app. These are free to get hold of from the App Store, Apple's App Store. We also have another template which is available for the FL Studio users, and that will turn Launch Control into a really great mixer for people working with FL Studio. So alongside all the factory templates that we've got in the launch control, we also have our user templates. This gives us another 8 banks of 16 knobs, 8 buttons and 4 navigation buttons. The user mode is really useful if we want to set up our own unique user mappings. With Ableton, this is super easy. So for example, if I want to MIDI map maybe this knob to control, for example, send A on channel 1, very straightforward. If I press Command and M on an Apple or Control and M on a PC, click on the parameter I want to control, move the control I want to assign it to, come out of MIDI map mode, and now I have in user 1 my send A automatically mapped there, and that's now that's fixed there for me. So I can set up another 8 banks of my own user preferred settings. We can also use a piece of software that we give away free with the Launch Control, the Launch Control Editor, and we can change any of the MIDI messages that we want to send from the knobs, the buttons, or the navigation buttons. So all in all, this is a really powerful little controller. In total, with our 8 factory settings and 8 user settings, with 16 knobs available on each, 8 buttons and 4 navigation buttons, that gives us a total of 448 individual controls from this little box. So there we have a good look at the new Launch Control controller from Novation. It's the perfect addition to any Launchpad setup. It's fantastic for working with Ableton, FL Studio, any type of music software, any sort of music software that you can MIDI map with. The Launch Control is perfect for that. If you'd like more information about the Launch Control, have a look at the Get in the Mix website where you'll find full details, or visit novationmusic.com. Thanks very much for watching.